What's going on, guys? This video is going to talk to you about why it is so important for you to see what is possible for yourself as a man. Most of you guys who are watching this channel, you're probably in a spot where maybe you have some job you're not thrilled about. You're stuck in your hometown. You don't have much money. You're not doing well with women. You just don't have the good things in life. And a lot of times what I tell you guys to do is stay single and boring for 3 years. Lock the fuck in and improve yourself. And this is really important to do, but it can be hard for a lot of you guys who, maybe you haven't experienced the good things in life. Maybe you really haven't spent much time at nice restaurants or been in a nice car or just done some really cool stuff. And so it's almost hard for you to even imagine what's really possible for you. And so recently, my school community and we took our first ever Life Maxed trip. We went to Dallas and we ran in a Spartan race as well as doing a few other things. And this was the first ever one I did. I wasn't really sure if people were going to be interested in doing this when I announced it. I had two of the guys come with me on the trip. And honestly, I was planning to make this into like a vlog of the entire trip. But I'll be totally honest, guys, I'm so bad at like vlogging in the moment. You know what I mean? I need to hire a camera person at some point, like full time, to really be like a vlog person for me if I decide I want to go down that road. But like, you get into the moment when you're living your life and it's just like, I don't want to pull a fucking camera out and record everything just for a video. Like, I love you guys, but I'm sorry. I'm trying to live my life and enjoy what I'm doing, So I got a bunch of footage from the trip and it's not enough to make a vlog. And so what I decided I wanted to do in this video was discuss this idea of seeing what else is possible out there for you and help you adopt certain mindsets that I think will help you in your life. So basically what I'm going to do in this video is show you a bunch of footage from the trip, kind of go through what we did and how everything went and give you a perspective shift and help you hopefully start seeing a different way you should be living your life and show you what's possible, because I know this was a big game changer for the guys who went on the trip. Was just watching them. It was really cool to see because this experience has happened to me in the past too. And it's something I've talked about as well, as like, you go on these nice trips and it's like all of a sudden your standard for what you want in your life changes. Like one of the guys who was on the trip, by the end of it, he was just like over and over again. He was like, fuck, I've got to get rich. Like I've got to make money because I've got to live this kind of life. Like it makes this contrast for you in your head of like, okay, here's my shit life. Here's what it could be. And that's why I say stay single and boring. That's why I say focus on yourself, build yourself, because what's possible for you is so much better. This goes back to the chart that we talk about all the time on the channel, where I show you guys the blue line that takes off and it's the outlier life path. And then I show you guys the red line, which is the normal person's life path. And I'm always trying to preach to you guys that like there's better things out there if you'll just put in the work. And it's not about a Bugatti. It's not about, trying to be that kind of guy. If that's what you want, that's fine. But it's really just about realizing like a better version of life exists and thinking about that and getting out of that box that you're stuck in your hometown where it's just, everybody's just living to breed pretty much. It's like they get to 23, 24 years old. They feel like they want to start knocking a girl up and having kids. And it's like all that BS and you're broke your whole life. I just want to show you guys what else is possible out there. So I think this is going to be a video that you guys who are big fans of the channel will really appreciate. It's going to go into a lot of interesting stuff and just give you a behind the scenes look of what the trip was like, and hopefully give you a more in-depth perspective of myself and the things like that. So going into it, the first thing that I really want to discuss with you guys is something I'm big on, which is this idea that I think you should live frugally when you're in your day-to-day life, but that you should spend money when you travel. And so what do I mean by this? Well, I don't mean penny pinch in like a super like Ebenezer Scrooge way when you're living your life. But like, for example, my apartment here, it's a 2-bed apartment with the water bill and everything. It costs me like $1,400 a month and change. And it's in a good location in my town. It's a nice spot, right? But I'm not blowing a bag on it. I drive a Honda Accord, right? I drive a basic car. I'm planning for my future. I'm still building, right? A lot of you guys might see me as somebody who's ahead of you and just like maybe look like somebody who's like where you want to be in life. But I've just got so much more shit that I want to accomplish, right? I'm living fairly responsibly, right? I don't eat out much. I don't really do a lot of crazy entertainment stuff. I'm pretty like regimented. You know what I'm saying? I try to be disciplined. I have my passions, right? I box, and I mean, that costs some money, obviously. But like beyond that, I'm pretty frugal with my money. I don't have a lot of expensive things in my day-to-day life. But when I go on trips, and this is the same thing that we did on this trip, is I like to raise the bar one level. I kind of think it's like, if you're living at this level, it's like, let's go up to this level on the trip. And the reason for this is because you want to just almost motivate yourself to get to that next place. Give yourself a taste of it and get it mentally into your head, what is possible for you in your life. And it just has this huge impact on the way that you carry yourself. You start being like, well, fuck, I want to drive that kind of car and I want to go to those kinds of places. I want to be in the nice part of town. I want to spend $200 on dinner and not give a fuck, right? You get into that kind of mindset once you see that it's possible. And it's the biggest game changer. Like most of you guys out there, including myself, the things that have inspired you to get moving with your life and try and change it for the better was seeing an example of something out there. For me at 20 years old, it was, seeing Ty Lopez. I know he's kind of a scammy guy, but like when he was showing off the mansions and showing off that entrepreneur lifestyle, that changed something in my mind. It made me realize that I didn't have to go down the college route. I didn't have to go work some shitty 9-to-5 that I didn't want to have. I didn't have to do these things. I could take a different path in life. And for most of you guys, I think you've probably experienced something different. And when you go on these trips like this, it's basically a more dramatic example of that because you're actually living it. You're actually in the nice car. You're actually at the nice restaurant. You are actually in a nice place to live. You're doing it right? I think most people, they do this the opposite, right? They try to stretch themselves and live paycheck to paycheck in their daily lives. And then when they go on a trip, they're going to the fucking sea dip or some stuff like that, some motel at the beach, right? With hair and roaches and shit in it, or just some crap, like some dingy kind of place. And they're eating McDonald's on the trip. Like they're doing all the cheap stuff on the trip and then trying to live paycheck to paycheck in their daily lives. And this is just hustling backwards because you're not really investing in your future because you're spending all your money trying to play this keeping up with the Joneses game in your day-to-day life. And then when you go on a trip, the trip just sucks. You should invert this. You should live responsibly in your day-to-day life and then spend when you go on the trip because this motivates you to get to the next level. And so that is what we did. And that was the mindset that I approached this trip along with other trips that I've done in my life. And my goal for the guys that went on this trip, truthfully, was like, obviously, they gave me a bunch of money to go on this trip. And so I wanted to make sure that they obviously got their money's worth and they were really happy with the trip. But my big goal with it really was, giving them a different perspective on life, helping them get out of their situation. One of the guys who came on the trip, he had never really left his hometown much, like a little bit, but not really. And then one of the guys, he traveled a bit, but he just doesn't have much money at this point in his life. He's a young guy. And so they just haven't seen this kind of stuff. And so I wanted to make sure that when they left this trip, they saw what was possible. They saw other things that could happen in life. They saw a better way to do things. They saw a taste of what their life could be like if they just stayed consistent and kept working on themselves. And I think I accomplished my goal because both of them seemed pretty jacked up by the end of it. They were pretty fired up. And I think they started to see a different way to, carry themselves. And so from this point, what I'm going to do is show you guys what we did on the trip and kind of give you some commentary on it and why we did the things we did and like just some interesting ideas that I think you'll find valuable. So the first thing I'll talk about is we did a tour of the townhouse that we're staying at, and I'll play that right now. All right, what's up, guys? So it's our first full day inside the Airbnb. Yesterday, literally everybody's flights got delayed and we were kind of running around, so I didn't really have a chance to do a tour of the building. But that's what we're gonna do right now. So this is the main floor area. We've got Danny over here. Say what's up, Danny.
What's up, guys?
So yeah, this is the main area right here. Pretty big spot. And then we'll go downstairs and we'll take a look at the garage, and then we'll go upstairs and show you the best spot in the house. So yeah, we got the garage right here. And then right here on the main floor, or the main bedroom floor, that's my bedroom right here. And then I want to show you, Danny was the first one here. So he got the master bedroom, but check this bathroom out. I need to do a real estate tour of this place. Yeah. And then up here, we've got the rooftop terrace. You gotta have one of these on a Life Max trip. Yeah, give them a view of the whole place. And so this was one of these things, again, right off the bat, it just showed the guys, I could tell it was like a mind expander for them, right? We've got the rooftop terrace. On the last day that we were there, we were smoking cigars on the rooftop terrace, just hanging out. In the Life Max group, say what's up to the boys, everybody.
What's up, boys?
What's up, guys?
Got the city all around you. You can see for a distance. It was just this kind of vibe to it, right? And just, you know, for guys who are living with their parents to be able to go live in a luxury townhouse in a nice part of Dallas for a few days, it's just one of these mind openers. And, you know, I saw it. And, you know, the first time I did this was when I went to Miami at the beginning of this year. We stayed in this super nice condo overlooking Brickell Bay in the nicest part of Miami. And it was just one of these game changers. It was like, man, like this could be my life. And so it was, again, the same effect for me, because this wasn't just for the guys. Like it has the same effect on me. Like I left, and we're going to cover it here in a minute. We went to one of the nicest part, literally the nicest part of Dallas. And we were hanging out there for a bit. And I was like, man, like I want this to be my life. Like this is how I want to live my life. And it's just those kinds of things that make you feel like this is where you belong because you're there for a bit. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the first thing, you know, this was the house that we stayed in, was this townhouse. And then, you know, another thing, when I'm talking about, again, elevate your standards when you go on the trip, right? And so what does that look like? Well, we drove a Maserati on the trip. And so the reason I chose to get a Maserati for us was because it's like, again, raise the standard, get used to these kinds of things. And I can tell you guys, driving around in a Maserati in the nicest part of Dallas, it makes you feel different about yourself. You get out of the car in Highland Park, which again, we're going to cover here in a second. You get out of the car in Highland Park and it's like super nice cars everywhere, and you feel like you belong because you just pulled up in a nice car too. And you're walking around and you just feel like this is where you belong. You feel like this is who I am. I could be this person, right? This could be my daily life. There's no reason it couldn't be. And so that's why I rented the car. And this is kind of like, again, the approach to the trip is like raise the bar, right? Nice townhouse. We're probably staying in like an $800,000 townhouse that we rented. Nice car. That's probably like a $90,000 car or some shit like that, right? Get some nice stuff. See what's possible for yourself. And so the next day after this, what we did is we went down to Houston and we went to work out at Alpha Land Gym. This is the place, for those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you know, when I moved to Houston, Texas, and I was building my online fitness coaching business that I was trying to run at the time, this is why I went to Houston, Texas, was because this gym was there. And it's this mega gym for content creators, for, you know, business people. And it's just like a really interesting, like high level community of people that are at this gym. And so I obviously wanted to go back here myself. And that's part of why I chose to have the trip take place in Texas. And I also wanted the guys to be able to see this too, because again, it's like you're working out at a fucking Planet Fitness, and then I show you this place with, like, you know, smoking hot chicks everywhere and everybody's in shape, and it's this mega complex. There's like 3 or 4 gyms. They've got saunas, they've got a lounge, they've got, we got to go up in the VIP lounge and hang out for a bit. Like we got to see all this kind of stuff and see what was possible. And it's just a mind opener, right? And another cool aside for me, for those of you who, you know, remember me being homeless, and I've told the story numerous times on the channel, when I was in Houston, I ended up going homeless for a bit, and I won't retell the whole story here, but, you know, when I was living homeless in Houston, Texas, I literally spent almost all day at Alpha Land Gym in the lounge working on my computer trying to make money. And I literally went back, and I'll play the clip here in just a second. I literally went back to the same seat that I had been sitting in 12 hours a day, working on trying to figure out how to get out of my shit situation. I was in the same bathroom where I took a shower every single day because I didn't have a shower to use, and where I shaved my head in the fucking sink, right? Like I was in that exact same place. All right, guys, so I'm revisiting my lore. You guys know the story of me living in Houston. This seat that I'm sitting in right now was the seat that I sat in 10 hours a day while I was homeless, working on building my business. So it was only natural we had to come back. I got the smoothie. We just got a killer workout in. Had to get it in. Had to come look at it again from a new perspective now that we've made it out of it. And going back and just realizing how much I changed. And literally, it's been a little over 2 years since this happened to me. And it's not that long when you think about it, guys. And it's just like how much had changed. It's like now, instead of being homeless, I'm pulling up in a Maserati. And it's like I make, you know, 6 figures a year. And it's like just how much things had changed. And I got to see a friend of mine while I was there, who was literally the guy who I stayed in his garage for a while I was homeless. A great friend of mine named Oscar. Got to see him again for the first time, and it was just really great to see him and, just get to reconnect and just see how much progress he had made and see how much progress I've made and just how our mindsets had shifted. And it's just really cool to see that kind of thing. And just, I guess, like, it's just a gratifying feeling just to know, like, one thing, just understand how much you can get done in 2 years, guys. Like, it hadn't been that long, right? I say stay single and boring for 3 years. 2 years ago, I was homeless, guys. Like, you can get this done, man, and it doesn't have to take forever. It's a blink of an eye when you really think about it, and it's just a really gratifying feeling. And another reason why I'd also say, like, a lot of you guys, maybe you're scared and kind of living in your hometown and afraid to leave, right? Because you don't want to leave your friends and your family and all this shit. It's like, had I not moved out of my hometown and gone to Houston, I wouldn't have met my great friend Kenny that I talk about sometimes on the channel, that I've visited out in Arizona, that I talk to basically every single day. I wouldn't have gotten to meet my friend Oscar and keep up with him. It's like, you make better friendships when you really pack up and go for it. You make the quality relationships that way. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so that was a really cool experience, getting to go back there and just see where I'd been and see how far I'd come. And it was just refreshing. It's a great place to be. The vibes are really good there. It just motivates you. If you live in, like, anywhere near Houston, I highly recommend checking out Alpha Land for the day. It's just the kind of shit that'll make you think bigger and feel inspired, because it literally, a guy with a YouTube channel built this gym a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, anything's possible, guys. You guys can do something. And this kind of brings me to an aside. I'm just riffing for this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. I was talking to my friend about this. When I moved to Houston to go to Alpha Land, my friend Kenny did the same thing. He moved to Houston to go to Alpha Land and start being in the fitness industry and start creating content and get into that world. And my friend Oscar moved to do the same thing. He moved to Houston to do the same thing. And we realized, I was talking to my friend Kenny, I was like, if Christian Guzman, who built the gym, if he had not been going after something in his life, if he hadn't been building something with his life, I would have never met Kenny. I would have never met Oscar. Our lives would be just completely different. Genuinely, like, my friend Kenny would probably be living in his hometown working as a physical therapist. And I'd be like, who knows? I might be the manager of a UPS store. And I don't know what my friend Oscar would be doing. But it's just like, it's an important message, guys. You don't understand who is watching you, and just how you going after some shit with your life, you don't realize just how much of an impact that can have. Like, the number of lives Christian Guzman has changed simply by pursuing his purpose in life and doing something meaningful with his life, it's uncountable at this point. Hundreds, thousands of people have been changed by the fact that he pursued something excellent with his life. And I guess I have a small version of that on some of you guys on this channel, taking you on trips, being in the Life Max group, the guys I've coached, the guys on this channel that have been motivated by what I'm doing here. It's like, it's a very gratifying feeling to realize, like, you've had a positive influence on people, and, like, you have in your own little way shifted the way the world is going for the better, hopefully, right? And you guys can all do that in your own way. You don't have to create content if that's not your thing, but, like, you've got a brother, a cousin, a friend, just somebody who's just going to see you, right? Maybe you're 22 years old right now. In 5 years, you're 27 years old. There's going to be a 20-year-old guy who sees you at 27 and sees the vision, because you built something for your life. I have this happen all the time in my hometown, right? I'm 28. I see these, like, 18, 19, 20-year-old guys, and it's just like, we talk about it all the time. The average man's a bum, right? He just doesn't have his shit together. He's out of shape and broke. And then they see me, and I'm not trying to, like, brag or anything, but just, they see me as just one of these guys who's actually done something, and they can see in the flesh somebody who, has a personal brand, who does cool shit, who's in shape, who's masculine, who's confident, and they get to see something else out there, and they get some mentorship, and they get some guidance. For me personally, I find it very fulfilling to, mentor and coach guys and help guys get to the next level. That's why I run the school community that I run. It's not my main source of income, but it's just intrinsically fulfilling to me to watch the guys in there make progress and feel like I can have a positive impact on their lives. And so this is an aside, totally, like, a total tangent, but just, if you ever feel like you're lacking motivation, do it for your family, do it for the people around you, do it for the next generation that's coming up behind you that can see that you did something, see what's possible. And you never know, like, there could be some 18-year-old kid out there right now who's, deciding between if he's going to go to college and get fucked up and get in a bunch of debt and all this shit, or if he's going to try and build something different with his life. And you could be the one to change that. If he looks at you and he's like, wow, that guy's 25 and he's independent, and it's like, I could be that guy. And like, you could change somebody's life genuinely for the better, guys. Like, let's stop being completely selfish out here. I mean, I'm not trying to act like I'm saving the fucking manatees. I'm obviously very selfishly motivated in a lot of ways. I want to get rich. I want to do well in life, but you just don't know how the ripple effect of this stuff can play out. And so, go for some shit in your life. You could change other people's lives by doing that. But, moving on, we went into the gym and I put the guys through a workout, and I was able to help them a bit with their form, teach them a few things. We maxed out on bench. Both of the guys did better than they expected. Than I expected. I thought they were both going to come in around 165 on their bench. One of them got Keefe got, I think it was 190, and Danny got 185, I think was the bench. And then I did 225. I did my max reps on that. So I'll throw that up now just for fun. And so basically what we did, we had a workout. My friend Oscar, he's an Alpha Elite affiliated athlete. He's sponsored by Alpha Elite, which is the clothing brand that is also related to Alpha Land. And so he has access to the VIP lounge. He took us upstairs, showed us around the VIP lounge, which was cool. And that was just a cool thing to again see what's possible. Because my friend Oscar, when he was in Houston, when I knew him back in 2023, that was like one of his goals. Like, he wanted to, he was a big fan of Christian Guzman. Christian Guzman had a big impact on his life. He wanted to work with Alpha Elite, and his brother also wanted to, and now they both are. His brother is a camera guy. He's a photographer, videographer with Christian Guzman, with Alpha Land, with Alpha Elite, and now Oscar is an athlete with Alpha Elite, and he does stuff with Alpha Land, and he has access to the VIP lounge. And it was just cool to see that, he'd accomplished that. And then again, getting to show the guys, including myself also, just like, hey, this is what's possible, just keep putting in the work and just see what's coming down the pipe, right? It's just like, it makes sense. If you're putting in the work, if you're doing stuff, like, your life's going to get better. This just makes sense, guys. So moving on, the next day, what we did was we ran in a Spartan race. For those of you who don't know, a Spartan race is like this. The one we did, it was a 10K race. It was a 10-kilometer race. It's like 6.2 miles. It's an obstacle course race. You're running through the water. You're running through the mud. You're going you're climbing up ropes. You're going over walls. You're doing all these obstacles. I think it was like 25 obstacles, 10K race. We raced in that, and I felt like that was such a great, epitome of what it means to life, Max, was doing that trip, because we had community there, like brotherhood, like-minded people. We were pushing ourselves on this thing, right? It's a challenge, which I'm big on for life maxing. And then it gets you out of your comfort zone. And then just along with it, you're in a cool location. You traveled to do it. We're doing a trip. We're doing cool shit on the trip. And it was interesting. Both of the guys were like really worried about if they were going to be able to accomplish complete the Spartan race. That is, were they going to be able to complete the 10K Spartan race? And I kept telling them, I was like, you guys are going to be fine. Trust me. Just get through the race, get it done. And they both got it done. And they both had good times. In fact, both of them ran the race faster than I ran the first one that I ever ran. I ran one back in Nashville a few years ago, and they beat my time in that race by a couple of minutes. So they got it done. And I think that was a big growing moment for them. I think it was probably maybe the biggest physical challenge either of them had really taken on, or at least one of them. And so that was really cool to see. And so it's just, again, this thing is pushing you. You're getting out of your comfort zone, and just, that kind of just that ethos, that approach to life of doing hard shit, but doing it in a way that's, getting you out of your comfort zone, challenging yourself, pushing yourself, doing cool shit. That's just what I'm all about. And that's what I think you guys should be all about. Design an epic life for yourself that involves you pushing yourself to the limit to see what you're capable of. And it involves a bunch of cool experiences and stories, so that someday when you're that grandfather and you've got your grandson on your lap, you can be telling him about all the cool shit you did. You don't want to tell him that you worked as a fucking HR rep for 40 years and he didn't give a fuck, right? You want to tell him you traveled, you did cool shit, you climbed this obstacle course, you fought in a fight, you played semi-pro basketball, or you were a weightlifter, you had a 315 bench at some point. You want to tell some cool stories, right? You did some shit with your life. You want to tell your son you did some cool shit with your life, right? And I'm just big on that, man. I think that's so important. And so That's why that's why I thought it was a great fit to do the Life Max trip at a Spartan race in Dallas, you know, traveling, doing some cool shit. And I think this is probably going to be something we're doing, you know, probably once every 6 months we'll start doing them. I know that a bunch of the guys who didn't go on this trip are interested in going in the next one. So we're probably looking at maybe doing another one in April. And I think this will probably just be like a reoccurring thing, you know, go travel to a place, do some cool shit, do a Spartan race, build the community, all that kind of stuff. I think it's just a perfect fit for what we're all about here on the channel. And so the last thing that we did, which really wraps up or caps off, I guess you could say, the mindset of seeing what's possible for yourself, is we went to this place in Dallas called Highland Park, which we went over there to get photos done at this, it was like this really nice mall, this outdoor mall that we went to. I forgot what it was called. I think it was Highland Park Village, I think it was called. We went over there and, you know, you're driving a Maserati and you park it next to a Ferrari and you get out in a nice outfit and you're like, I belong here. Like, your car's nice, you're in a nice spot, you're dressed well, you're like, I belong here. And that kind of mentality for you guys who, like, you grew up on the wrong side of the train track, so you don't have much money. It's like you drive into the really nice part of your town and you're like almost hoping somebody doesn't notice you. You know what I mean? Like, I've had this experience in the past where, like, you go somewhere and you're like, I hope these people don't notice me. Cause I'm like, I hope they don't realize I don't belong here or something. And it's like, once you go there and you're like, oh, I do belong here. I'm the fucking guy. I do belong here. It's like, it totally shifts your mindset. And it just got, for me, it's like, I know for me personally, getting back from it, making me realize, like, I needed to up my game as far as like a level of class that I carried myself with. I actually bought some new clothes as a reason I went on this trip, because I was like, I need to start dressing better and taking my appearance more seriously, right? Like, I'm probably still going to wear the black t-shirts in the videos, but like going out in public, dressing well, carrying myself better, you know, approaching my life in a different way with a bit more class and that kind of way of living, because that was something that it occurred to me when I was there. I was like, I want to be the kind of guy who lives in a place like Highland Park or lives in Brickell, Miami or something like that. And I want to be that kind of guy. And you don't get these experiences in your bedroom. You don't get these experiences in your mundane day-to-day life. And this is why I say you want to go out there and you want to stretch yourself on these trips. Do something that gets you out of your comfort zone and do something that shows you what your life could be like if you just put in some work. And then I guarantee you, I know both of the guys who went on the trip, I know they're both thinking about, like, how can I engineer my life to live a higher quality? I definitely know one of them, Keefe, he runs he's building an online dating photography business right now. I definitely know that he was getting more serious about it. He was like, fuck, I need to start doing all this shit so I can live this kind of lifestyle. And it's like, when you're just stuck in the rut of some shit job, it's just hard to get out of it. And so you got to break yourself out, you know, every now and then, at least once a year. You got to break yourself out of it and get motivated. I know the first time I went out to visit my friend Kenny in Phoenix, it did this to me. I was like, fuck, man, like, I need to get back into the online business game because I want to live this kind of lifestyle. It's just, you need these kinds of things for yourself. You need to see what's possible, guys. And so that's the big message of this video, kind of a rant, kind of all over the place. I hope this video motivates you guys to, you know, take action on your life, do something different, live intentionally, stretch yourself, see what's possible for you, get out of the box. There are people out there with millions of dollars to buy a house and buy a nice car and do this shit. There are people traveling the world. There are people in fantastic shape. There are attractive women who are just like 10 out of 10 that you don't see on a daily basis. They're all conglomerated and like, or congregated, I guess you could say, in just random pockets of America, Scottsdale, Houston, you know, New York, Los Angeles, wherever, Miami. Like, you see these things are out there and you're like, oh man, like, there's levels to this shit. And like, I could do this. Like, I was here for a few days. Why couldn't I just make this my life, you know? And you start thinking about these kinds of things, and maybe you create it in your own way. Maybe you're like, you know what? I want to stay where I'm at, but now I got to get to a new level where I'm at. Right. And so, you know, I would tell you guys, you know, go push yourself, see what's possible for yourself. If you want to join us on the trips, or if you want coaching from me and accountability to improve yourself, and you want to be a part of our community and, you know, build your business or build your career, whatever that is, get in shape, you know, improve your mindset, improve your dating life, all that kind of stuff, and you want to go on the trips with us, join us inside the community, I would tell you to do that as well. But yeah, I'm kind of ranting at this point, or riffing, I guess. So I'll just wrap the video up here, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.